nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, it's Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Mel.
Hi.
And Pat.
Hi.
And Leonie.
Good morning.
We've got a full house. And we're going to be talking about avatars. So you have heard us refer to avatars in previous episodes if you've been listening for a while, but we're going to dive into what they are, how to make one, how to use them in our marketing.
And just a reminder before we get started to use my code PATSITIVE for 10% off all courses. I get a kickback from these enrollments and they're how we support the production of the podcast.
And Mel, you've got a code too?
I do. It's Jungle Nails.
Leonie, do you?
My code is Leonie.
Leonie. And so listeners, they're going to fight it out to get your attention. You'll get 10% off any course that you enroll, and whoever's code you use will also get that kickback. So before we get stuck into our new topic, let's revisit last week's lesson. Mel, what were we talking about last week?
Last week, Mel was very confused. So it was low volume, high value, or the other way around?
It was good people, good work for good money.
Yeah, so very the least work you can manage to get the highest rewards.
Hit me with one thing you learned.
I learned to make sure it's working for you in your favor as well, not just everyone else.
Pat, what's one takeaway you had from last week?
Last week, I was just really, there was so much, honestly. So I think for me, what I took away is that a lot of the marketing ideas that are out there, we can boost them so that we do less work and get more out of them. It's just about how we think about it.
Totally. Everything can be optimized. Optimized is like my favorite word at the moment. I think I use it so much to be like, I need to optimize this for Facebook, or I write a caption and I'm like, how can I optimize this for the YouTube algorithm? Like, just with what my job entails, I think about that so often. Alrighty, so from optimizing our marketing to be the highest value we can, let's chat about who we're marketing to and talk about avatars. Avatars are essentially a personification of your target market. I know Leonie's in on this episode with us. We dragged her in because she didn't know what an avatar was, and to me that sounds really fun. So an avatar, like I said, is a personification of your target market. A target market is a broad idea of the people your business is suited to. For example, some businesses target people of specific ages, genders, income brackets, other demographics. Your business should do the same thing. So are you wanting to attract all genders, or to be more specific, are all genders likely to use your products and services? Are you wanting to attract all ages of people, or are some age groups more likely to be good customers? Becca touched on a couple of weeks ago, not all money is good money. So yeah, you could do nails for a 16-year-old. Are they likely to have the income to support coming back every 2 weeks and getting the most of your services? Yeah, maybe not yet. So it's not that we're saying we don't want to do nails for men or nails for 16-year-olds or whatever. It's saying that in our marketing efforts, we are going to put our most amount of effort into the exact right person who is going to be the exact best customer. And then if after that person, their 16-year-old daughter or their fiance for their if for wedding nails or whatever want to book in, great. But we're just not going to spend all our time trying to attract those people that are less likely to be perfect customers. Marketing within a target market will lead you to working with your dream clients, and working with dream clients makes business A, fun, and B, profitable, because your dream client will love coming to you just as much as you love having them. So we take the idea of a target market, but what will really, really help you is an avatar being an extremely specific personification of your target market. think of an imaginary friend to whom you will target all of your marketing. When it comes to an avatar, the more specific you can be, the better. It's a broad concept if you've never heard of it, but holy smokes, does it work? So I'm not going to speak for a salon right now because I'm not trying to grow my clientele so much, but I will briefly tell you about Monaco's avatars for marketing to potential students. We have two. One of them, her name is Abby. I'm going to skip Abby because like we don't need to go into the ins and outs of both of them, but Caitlin originally is 34, married, has 3 young children, the oldest of whom is in school. The youngest is now in daycare several days a week. Caitlin has put everything aside to be a really great mother and wife for many years now, but with the kids getting a little bit older, she feels restless. She craves a challenge, a creative outlet, and one-on-one adult conversation, undistracted by children. The only issue is those kids will always come first, so Caitlin needs to be able to factor in her new passion, remember we're targeting a student here, around school hours and bedtimes. She knows of a nail tech in town who works from home and thinks she could do that too. Caitlin has a lot of pressure on her shoulders, 100% self-inflicted. She's paying for her course with money that her husband works hard for, that her family could use, and that she will be taking time away from them too. So the thing is that like I wrote that description maybe like 7 or 8 years ago and haven't reread it until now. I just pulled it up now to be able to read it out to you. But also I'm going to talk in a second about using AI to help me build out my avatar. And I know Caitlin so well that that is basically what I wrote again a month ago. Like, even though Caitlin's not a real person and I'm not that silly, I know she's not real, knowing her as well as I do, this imaginary person who is the ideal client from like student for Monaco, knowing her means I can talk to her. It matters that I named her. I will even practice working with her by like shopping with her sometimes. Like you're walking down the aisle of Pack and Save and I will test myself thinking of all these things, what would Caitlin choose? Coca-Cola as a company writes 100-page manifestos describing their avatars. Like other massive corporations do the same. So that's what we're doing is we're taking this very specific person, learning everything we can, even though it is a matter of us deciding those things for them, so that then when we make our marketing, I can go, would Caitlin like this? And there are times that I will be looking for a photo to use for a specific post. And I'll pick a photo and then I think, and I'll be so happy with it. I'll be like, oh, yes, I love this. That's so cute. And then I'll be like, would Caitlin like it? No, she would think it was like messy or like it's a bit too dark for her or whatever. Like me and Caitlin and Abby, remember we have 2 avatars, are not the same person. I am not my target market, which I know Pat has thoughts on for her salon, but like I need to know that ideal student for Monaco to be able to target them the best I can with my marketing. So like we were saying just a minute ago, is every person that sees my marketing going to be Caitlin or even Abby? No. Some of it will be the people that are outside that specific target, and that's okay.
I am Caitlin. Like, and it makes me feel like, am I a sucker? Did I just get like sucked into Monaco through the marketing?
Yes.
Like 7 years ago, I was 34. I have 3 kids. I felt guilty spending money that my husband worked for something solely for me. But I needed the adult. I'm like, am I just a sucker? Am I just here because I'm gullible and just got sucked in?
Are you a sucker, or did I know exactly who would make our Monaco community better and target you?
I don't know.
It's kind of both, right? Like, so you say that you are Caitlin, but so many of our students and graduates, when they get to Abby and Caitlin, they're like, what? How did you, what? That's me. But that proves how good avatar marketing is if you have a really strong avatar. And like Leonie was saying in last week's mini-sode, that we have this amazing community around us of people. Well, if I had not targeted Caitlin and just drawn in a bunch of Caitlins, we wouldn't have that community. We would have people with such a mishmash of personalities and priorities that we wouldn't all get along the way that we do.
It's the chicken or the egg scenario, Mel. Like, did it find you or did you find it? Like, you obviously found what you were looking for, what you needed at the time, and it's been working for you ever since. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
You're still here, sucker.
Yeah.
No, am I just suck it in? But no, you're right. I did. I needed it. And the marketing obviously found me, or I found it, or yeah.
It worked.
But also, being sucked in, you can only be sucked in if it's a negative. Like, are you mad that I found you?
Sometimes.
Yeah, same. I can't laugh. I'm so sick. It makes me need to cough. Getting sucked in, like, that makes me think of, like, what is it? MLM marketing, like the bad stuff. Like, getting sucked in would be if I had promised you all those things and then you had enrolled and then all of the people in the Facebook group were assholes. Then I sucked you in. No, I just told you exactly what we do. And I was so specific about what we do and who we are that I get more of the same. And then we build this community.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just testament that it works, I found it and yeah.
But then that means, sorry, you go, Leonie.
Yeah, also Penny, what you were saying about the for the student perspective, what you were throwing out when you did your avatar was that your ideal client is not you, so somebody that is quite different from you, whereas probably what I'm fishing for is somebody that is quite like me. So this is where it's a good test to see that you can either attract somebody that is not you or somebody who is similar to you.
Yeah, but then also this kind of ties in with the spaghetti effect. So I will briefly say that the spaghetti effect is where you imagine that you put a drawing pin in the wall closest to you. Now imagine you're holding a giant bowl of spaghetti, like the canned kind, real saucy. Throw the bowl at the drawing pin. Do spaghetti and sauce get all over the drawing pin? Yes. The drawing pin should be completely coated unless you are as uncoordinated as I am. But does spaghetti and sauce only get all over the drawing pin? No, it's all over the surrounding wall. And although the sauce coverage gets less and less the further away from the drawing pin you get, you will always find a speck on the roof in a few weeks' time and wonder how on earth it got there. So the drawing pin is your avatar. In my case, Abby or Caitlin. If you want to get super complicated, they have their own drawing pins about 1 meter apart and a bowl of spaghetti each, and some of it overlaps, but forget that. The drawing pin is Caitlin. The spaghetti is the marketing I'm doing. So I've thrown spaghetti at the drawing pin. I have thrown my marketing at Caitlin. The drawing pin is absolutely coded. Mel has been reeled in. Because I targeted Caitlin, I 100% got Mel. But the spaghetti also got all over the wall, mostly close to the drawing pin. So mostly people like Caitlin, mostly people like Mel, but also spreading quite far. So that means that people who aren't quite Caitlin, but have lots of traits in common with her, also got covered in spaghetti. The less traits they have in common with her, the less spaghetti touches them, and the less my marketing will resonate with them. In theory, if my marketing doesn't resonate with them and they don't book in with me, great. I didn't really want them. I wanted Caitlin. I don't want to sit and spend time like doing nails or teaching classes or whatever for people who don't love what I do. Caitlin will love what I do because it was designed for her. But so Leonie, you saying that what you want is somebody who is you, and this is something Pat's brought up with us before as well, that her avatar is herself. So my question, Leonie, is like, do you have I'm going to start with I feel like I know you well enough that I can start with a question that some people might think is rude, but you'll know where I come from. Do you have the exact income of someone who would be your perfect client and come fortnightly for a full set of nails with nail art?
No.
Then you're not your avatar.
Yeah.
You are spaghetti. And I only use that example not because I'm like, I know Leona's going to say no. Like, no, it was literally just because that's a really good black and white question. But like, you can be spaghetti. You can be drawing pin adjacent, and you can be similar to your avatar. I have lots of things in common with Caitlin, where if Mel is Caitlin, like, we get along great. We disagree on some things. We have slightly different priorities. I don't have kids that I birthed myself, but family's still important to me. So I don't have the same scheduling type of things that Mel or Caitlin would, but I do understand the priorities. Like little things like that, where I'm similar enough to Mel or to Caitlin that we get on great, and I want to be in the same room as that person some of the time. But we're not the exact same person, because if I was exactly Mel, she wouldn't need me. And if you were exactly your avatar, they wouldn't need you. You don't want to go and get your nails done, or you might sometimes as a treat, but like, you are the person who went and did the course. Your avatar is not thinking about doing a course, or you are marketing very wrong because you're about to get rid of all of your clients.
How did you decide on Abby and Caitlin? Did you just kind of like wake up one day and you were like, Abby and Caitlin?
I cheated a little bit. So my first few students were very accidental. Like my very, very first student was Jess Fraser that works with us, her mum. And so the first few people were completely untargeted. I was also only just full-time. Monaco wasn't a thing yet, but I started doing a few clients and I was educating for a different company and sort of started having a few trainees. So I had a rough idea of what I did and didn't like in a trainee before I needed to think of an avatar. By the time I really started studying like proper marketing and like digging more deeply into avatars, I already had them without really knowing that I had made them. That sounds confusing. Basically, when I started actually doing courses that like teach this stuff and like really researching and diving deep into avatars, the second I read this is what an avatar is, I described Caitlin. And it's just because she already existed. I know where I was. I was sitting at my desk in a classroom while a different educator was teaching a class, and I could look around the room and see those three people have a lot in common, but she doesn't quite fit the mold. What is she? She must be Abby, because she's not that different, because there are more people like her. And like, they already existed. I had naturally marketed and attracted these people who I could divide into essentially 3 categories. And those categories were Caitlin, Abby, and roof specs. So I kind of cheated. And then I just went like, okay, well, now that I'm studying it, let's take what I love about these people who fit the Caitlin category, which wasn't named yet. What am I going to name her? All right, let's dive down and go, okay, well, these people who seem to be Caitlin group range in age from like 26 to 38. What age am I going to narrow down on? Like, and I just went through and started doing that and narrowing down my avatar, but I kind of cheated.
That's interesting, Penny, when you say about like when you were originally marketing and attracting, because I feel like that's kind of how I've come up with my ideal client, is just by the law of attraction. I've ended up with my people that fit me well. And there are some people outside of that, but generally speaking, I already have a thought in my head as to then where my avatar will go, because that's who you've attracted or who has stuck to you.
100%. Like, and I think even with a big company like Coca-Cola writing these massive manifestos about avatars, I highly doubt that wasn't Coca-Cola like made by some chemist guy like 100 years ago. Like, he didn't have a marketing avatar. Coca-Cola was selling Coca-Cola to people before they developed a marketing avatar. 100%. Bet my bottom dollar on it. Like, there's no way that their marketing avatar came before Coca-Cola did. In other ways, sometimes it's the opposite. Salon Success, our course, came the other way around. Abby and Caitlin existed. They kept asking me questions, and I started going, okay, our students and grads need help with business and marketing. I made a 1-day course. It kept going overtime and getting longer and longer and longer. So then it became our Salon Success course, and then a podcast and stuff. So like you were saying, chicken and egg, this is a situation of you can definitely have a product, get your rough avatar coming to you naturally, and then we just want to define her or him so that we can target them really specifically. And then your clientele becomes so specific that you end up with like a community like Monaco or a bunch of males that get suckered in.
We all want a bunch of males.
Imagine a room of just Mel.
Fantastic.
For sure, there would be fights breaking out.
That's why my avatar can't be me.
Mm.
Like, if my avatar was exactly me, and I know that although Leonie and Pat have said their avatars are them, I disagree slightly. I think your avatars are you adjacent, but that's okay. I'm okay to be wrong. But if our students were all just more of me, oh hell no. Nah. They'd hate me because no, fights, definitely. The thing as well is like just sort of tangent, but not quite tangent, is like sometimes you have that speck of spaghetti on the roof and you're like, how the hell did they get here? Like, why? But they arrive and that's okay. You're going to have these randoms. But interestingly, if we ever get complaints, they're from roof specs. Abby never complains or gives negative feedback because like we speak the same language. And I don't mean literally, I just mean that I've designed her to share the same morals, values, sense of humor. Like we can't let Abby and Caitlin down because I have attracted people that have the same values as me. That doesn't mean that they never disagree with something I've done. Like I'm sure that Mel, especially working closely with me now, is sometimes like, why the hell did she decide that? Like seems weird. That's okay because my avatar is not me. But like, it is very difficult for me to completely have disappointed Mel to the point that she would actually complain about the course that we offered because I targeted her so specifically and was so specific about what I offered that like, we're not that different. Like I have been very specific about what we do. I cannot have, what's the word?
I don't know. I know what you're trying to say though. Like it was very clear to me what I was going to get with when I joined Monaco, and it was exactly what I needed. So what do I have to complain about pretty much?
Exactly. And like, so the people that do complain, because we're not perfect, but the people that complain are never Abby and Caitlin. It's always people that didn't quite click, signed up anyway, and then they get disappointed. Pat was working with me at my house the other day, and we were doing like follow-ups and stuff, and she took a phone call so I got a phone call and I didn't answer it because I was busy. And I was like, if they call back, I'll answer it, but I'm in the middle of something. It started a conversation where I said to her basically like, if someone calls me on the Monaco number, it comes through to my mobile phone. And if I'm busy, I will not prioritize answering that call. I will text it back and say like, hey, I'm so sorry. I was in the middle of something. How can I help? And then talk to them. But the reason I don't prioritize phone calls, it doesn't mean I never answer the phone. Like I don't want people to misunderstand and think I'm rude. It just means that if I'm in the middle of something important, I will get to that phone call later. But it's because Abby and Caitlin never call me. Like they never call me. It's always roof specs that call because they didn't resonate with what's on our website. They didn't understand what I've already communicated. So they call to clarify. And the people that call us almost never sign up because they weren't supposed to. Like they aren't Caitlin or Abby. So Caitlin and Abby wouldn't call us. And once that person does call us, they're still not Caitlin and Abby. So that's why I don't always, I save people's numbers. So if it's our actual students or graduates, like I know to answer. But if it's an unknown number and I'm busy, I know that they're not Caitlin or Abby. So I will call them later when I'm not busy. And then like half an hour later, Pat did a call back for someone and literally everything I had just told her was exactly accurate about this person that she called. Hey, Pat.
That is very accurate. I was like, okay, she predicted that to a T. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, I can see the roof spec thing from a client perspective, obviously more than the student perspective.
What are you two saying? Roof spec? What?
A roof spec. Where's your spaghettis landed on the roof?
Oh, a roof spec.
Further away from your target.
It's our Kiwi accents, our roof spots.
I was like, what are you talking? I thought
So the spec of spaghetti sauce that has landed on the roof, being your roof spec, Yeah, I feel like they are not necessarily your people, your vibe. They might still want to try you. Like maybe they've seen something online that really appeals to them and they're like, oh, I want that exact set or something like that. So they'll push themselves to make that appointment, even though maybe they don't get your vibe. And then if they come to your appointment and you don't vibe with each other, this is where, a lot of techs that are building their business and things, they take every single client they can and they get really, really disappointed if that client doesn't rebook or maybe isn't entirely happy with their service. But they were a roof spec. They weren't your person, and it's okay to let them go and find their better match. You'll be happier, they'll be happier, and everybody moves on.
You're so spot on, Leonie. And this comes down to later, another episode down the track, is not taking things personally. This is one of the reasons why people move on. It's not something you've done or whatever. It's just not meant to be. Move on with your life. Let them go. Revolving door, they'll go. Someone else will move in their place.
If you keep them, then your avatar can't book because you're full of roof specs. So let them go. So one thing that started the idea of doing this episode, because this was not in our original plan, is because so I was playing with ChatGPT like a few weeks ago, and it was when 4.0 got released. So for anyone who's not up with the AI stuff yet, there's a website called ChatGPT where you can basically talk to AI. Like, it has conversations with you like a person, but it's essentially the brain of a robot. If you imagine like sci-fi movies and stuff, it's slightly terrifying. It's improving at rapid pace, and it is taking over the world, not in the scary apocalyptic way, but like it's a big deal at the moment. And so one thing that ChatGPT does really well is like you can put a question in and say, I've just written this this caption for Facebook. Does it, like, is there any way I could improve it for the Facebook algorithm? And ChatGPT will say, oh, well, actually, Facebook would prefer that you use more positive language, or like, what if you word it like this, or little things. So you don't ever, I think, want ChatGPT to write stuff for you, but I will use it to be like, does this make sense? And it's like, yes, but also if you change this around, it would flow better. And I'm like, okay. Sometimes I viciously disagree, but sometimes it just gives me ideas. So a few weeks ago, they released 4.0, which is a new version of ChatGPT where it has memory, which it didn't have before, but now it can learn things about you and hold on to those memories so that next time you ask it a question, it answers it knowing what it has already learned about you, which, again, terrifying. But I was like, wait a second. And I went into ChatGPT and I said, can you help me create a marketing avatar? As a starter, her name is Caitlin. She is 32, has 3 children, the youngest of whom is turning 4. She wants to become a nail tech to work from home and contribute to household income while still having the flexibility to be with her kids, blah, blah, blah. Which, this is what I say when I say I wrote that other description like 7 or 8 years ago, and then I wrote this the other day, and they're so similar because that's how well I know her. But then I said, now, can you ask me questions one at a time to get to know Caitlin? I will reply to each question, and then you ask another one up to 30 questions. Once I answer them all, can you write me a summary of Caitlin as my marketing avatar for Monaco Nail Academy, a training institute for nail techs? So I was expecting that ChatGPT would be like, sure, what's her favorite food? Like random, like getting to know you questions. But it was super creepy. And it was like, sure, what sparked her interest in becoming a nail tech? And then it would be like, what is her biggest fear? Like, how is she going to manage the schedule of courses around having 3 children? Like, it was asking really specific questions that were honestly, I don't know. I just think the whole thing's creepy. But I was like, holy crap, this is amazing, especially because with ChatGPT, at the very end of the conversation, you can say, can you remember this for next time? And now 4.0 does. So what I can do now is go in and say, I've written this caption. Would this resonate with Caitlin? And ChatGPT knows who Caitlin is and will say, yes, that's really good. Or yes, but don't forget this, or like little things like that. So I went into the group chat that we have for Summit 2024. Like, it's just slowly dying away, but there's this group chat. And we had talked about avatars and stuff at Summit. And I said, oh my God, guys, look. And then no one was super excited, which I was very disappointed in. And then Leonie was like, what's an avatar? And I was like, oh my goodness, you need to book out this day and time you're coming on the podcast. So that's where we're at so far. This morning I sent to Pat, Mel, and Leonie a little template of what I put into ChatGPT that day and was like, at the end of today's episode, let's have a quick play and build avatars with ChatGPT. So this is where we're at.
The whole thing about the avatar and stuff, I guess in some ways to me, that's like, it's modern language, which makes it a little bit scary. So you think of avatars, you think of ChatGPT, you think of AI. It all feels very modern and unknown. But really, if you peel it back a little bit, it is like, if you're thinking more your old-fashioned, your Coca-Cola marketing, all of that sort of stuff, it is just that we're using a marketing tool, therefore ChatGPT in this instance, to help us create our target audience. So audience, avatar, our target client. So it's like a fictional character or pretend character that we're feeding information to. So I think sometimes people might just trip over the whole avatar thing, where it's like, it's just a person. It's just a modern term. ChatGPT as a marketing tool is just a modern term. So it doesn't have to be as scary as maybe it initially sounds. Like when you first said to me about creating avatars and ChatGPT and AI, and I'm like, holy shit, what are you talking about? But it's a marketing tool. I mean, it's a tool for many things, but a marketing tool to help us create our fictional person for our marketing purposes.
If it helps, I just Googled it, and the term marketing avatar was first coined in 1992.
There we go.
I was just like, wait, is it modern? Okay, so what I sent you guys was to put into ChatGPT. I am a nail tech from this town. I have a home-based nail salon. I offer these services and prefer to specialize in this. Can you help me create a marketing avatar? As a starter, her name is this. She is this age. She has this many children, the youngest of whom is this age. The issues she has with her nails are this. The reason she gets her nails done are this. And her dream set of nails would be this. Now, can you ask me questions one at a time to get to know her name? I'll reply to each question, and then you ask another one up to 20 questions. Once I answer them all, can you write me a summary of name as my marketing avatar? So, Leonie, you've got ChatGPT up?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Chuck that first thing in there. And I know Pat's like maybe 4 or 5 questions in.
Okay. Do you want me to read what I wrote? Because I slightly changed it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I am a nail and lash tech in Huntley, New Zealand. I share a salon space with another nail tech in her home in Hamilton. I offer manicures and pedicures using gel, builder gel, acrylic, and gel-on extensions, and prefer to specialize in luxury pedicures and builder gel manicures. I also do lash extensions, classics, hybrid, light volume, and full volume using handmade bands. Can you please help me create a marketing avatar? As a starter, her name is Marissa. I just came up with the name Marissa. She's 32 and she's married. The issues she has with her nails are they break easily. And the reason she gets her nails done is because she wants them to look good and not get wrecked when she lifts heavy. Her dream set of nails would be a builder gel set on her natural nails with some art that matches her mood. And she'd also get her toes done and lash extensions done on the same day to really make it a self-care treat. And then I told ChatGPT to ask me a bunch of questions.
All right. What did it ask first?
The first thing it said, what does Marissa do for a living? And I said that Marissa is a manager in the public sector and she manages a team of 15 people. So Marissa is very loosely based on me, like a past version of me. So
That's the thing, avatar adjacent, because you always say that you are your avatar, but you have specifically sought to no longer do that job and to like seek further education and side hustles. So like you are Marissa adjacent.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine with me. As long as, Marissa has money and spends. We like Marissa. I like you, Marissa. Please come see me at Sensitive Beauty.
What other questions has ChatGPT asked you since then?
What are Marissa's hobbies and interests outside of work? And I said she loves to go to the gym and work out. She also loves crystals and tarot cards, as well as socializing. And how often does Marissa typically get her nails and lashes done? And I said that Marissa alternates between getting her nails and lashes done every 2 weeks. So if she gets her nails done this fortnight, then next fortnight it's going to be her lashes. Alternated.
Perfect. Keep going.
Does Marissa have any children or pets? No kids yet, but she has 1 dog and 1 cat, and she and her husband are open to having kids if it happens. Her main concerns or stressors in life, because that was the next question, is that she wants to do well at work. She wants to pay off her mortgage, and look out for her and her husband's families. Also, just looking out for her mental health, because it's a bit not so great all the time.
Perfect. Keep answering the questions. I'm going to check in with Leonie.
Okay.
All right. So I'm completely fresh to ChatGPT. I've never done it before. So for any other girlies that also haven't done it before, I just literally Googled ChatGPT and it's come up with a webpage, chatgpt.com. And on the front screen, I've just chucked in all of that information that we talked about and have modified it for my base information, which my lady is going to be Mrs. Smith, who's 55. She's a bit older, professional lady. And so all of the same blurb. And then the first thing that ChatGPT has come back with is, how often does Mrs. Smith get her nails done? So first question, every 3 weeks. What does she do for a living? Semi-retired, because is anyone ever fully retired? How did she discover my nail salon? Word of mouth.
That's such a good one, because like if you're going to say word of mouth, feel free to keep answering questions with ChatGPT while I talk.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to say she heard of you by word of mouth, then that ties in with our last episode where we were talking about needing really high value marketing interactions, because you don't get word of mouth like from a flyer or a business card. Like that actually helps you really target your marketing, even just to identify that you want people to come to you via word of mouth. Mel, you've already got your avatar all sorted. Tell us about her and your experience with avatar marketing.
Okay, so yeah, I already did my avatar when I first started, 7 years ago, when I got suckered into Monaco. I was sort of like these guys that I thought I wanted, like someone, like I wanted me to be my client. But nah, so I can't remember her name because it was so long ago, but she was, I think, 35 at the time. She had kids. She was part-time working, I think at a local like clothing shop or something. Her husband worked full-time, so she did have the like income to sustain getting her nails done. She was heavily involved in her kids' sports. I think she was part of like the board of trustees at her school. She was just very like mumsy, very mum-like, so had the schedule to be able to come, but also had the income to be able to come. But not your typical mumsy, like loves a good party sometimes, has tattoos, piercings maybe, and just a little more on like the wild side. That was pretty much the breakdown of my avatar.
I love her.
Same. And when I look now back and go how many of my clients that I did have actually fit her, I would say probably like 85 to 90% of them were her, because they're who I want to hang out with. And this is why it was very easy for me to have a quote unquote good social media page, because it was very easy for me to talk to her.
Yeah, which it should be. Like anytime, well, we're always doing different stuff with our social media for Monaco, but recently you guys, the mentors, have started taking on more posts of like yourselves and your own journeys. And there's been a lot of talk recently when some mentors are like, I don't know what to write for my caption. And I feel like actually I'm realizing now, like what I need to do is send them Caitlin's summary and be like, tell her about your day. Because that's what I'm missing. Like I can very easily write for Caitlin, but I haven't been filtering that down to when you guys are doing posts. And like, Mel, you are Caitlin, so your captions naturally come from a place of Caitlin. So they do really well. And actually what I need to do is go and chat to some of the mentors and be like, this is what I've been missing. Tell her about your day and the caption will come more easily.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to, I don't know. I think I learned don't be afraid to just be you. Like if you want to swear or just be really blunt or just, to me, I pretend like I'm talking to my avatar who is just my best friend and we're sitting there and I'm telling her like, oh my God, my kid got up this morning and ran into my room and vomited all over my feet. What a shit show of a start to the day. But here we are. Like, let's move on.
But then she will relate. And actually, I'm thinking that maybe the reason I love your avatar is because I have a lot in common with her. Like that's as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking actually, like I'm not her, but I'm definitely spaghetti to your avatar. So
and
then
when you get that caption, you will just go, oh my God, or you would comment and go, oh my God, well, this happened to me this morning, so let's just have a shit day together. Like,
and the thing is that like thinking about stuff like when you say that, then I immediately think, oh yeah, well, actually a few weeks ago when my stepdaughter had a friend over, the friend came running into my bedroom and was like I was just nearly asleep, and then she's like, I don't feel well. And I was like, oh no. And then we had the next like 3 hours. I'm trying to message her mum to be like, do you want her? Like, I'm good friends with her mum. So I was like, I don't care. I'll keep her, but I'm just telling you that this is the sitch. And then trying to help her and then being like, I just want to be asleep. Like, this isn't even my kid. But like when you say that, like what happened to you this morning as an idea for a caption, that's what happens in my head, which means even if I'm only seeing that on social media, we have just formed a relationship, even if I didn't know you. Because you told me that happened and it triggered a memory for me, we now have a relationship. You don't know that we have it. But that's what you want, because now I feel like I relate to you. So then I'm going to be like, I'm going to go book with the lady with the vomiting kids because she'll get me.
She'll understand. I guess it's, when you need that person in your mind, your avatar, to be able to communicate with them, even though they don't exist, right?
Yeah, because if you think about your morning where your kid is unwell and has been spewing on your feet and stuff, and then if you think of like your husband's mum or your husband or your avatar or like a student that you don't know very well, like those 4 people, if you think about how you would describe your morning to each of those 4 people, the way that you described it would differ slightly. Like mother-in-law versus husband versus bestie versus professional, don't know them very well yet. The way you say it is going to be so different. Like for me, to mother-in-law, I'd be like, oh, well, because my mother-in-law, our kids are my step kids. So if I were to describe, say, Ella being unwell to Carl's mum, she's lovely, but I would still be guarding slightly like I'm not criticizing her. I didn't mind, but this is what happened. And then if I was saying it to Carl, then depending on his mood, I'm either like, oh my God, this is the worst day ever. Or sometimes I have to be careful because if he's also overtired, then he'll be like, well, like, but I love my kids. And I'm like, I do too. I'm just tired. But then also the way that I would explain it to a student is to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Carl's daughter was unwell last night. And then the way I would say it to like you guys would be like, oh my God, I had the worst night ever, blah, 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 blah. Like it is really different. And that's, so even though you are being yourself on your social media, you are still being yourself speaking to your avatar, not to your mother-in-law or like, So before we check back in with Pat and Leonie, I do want to take a quick ad break to tell you about our course finder quiz. So at Monaco Nail Academy, we like to be super flexible and we offer lots of different options for you, online and in-person training, self-guided or accountability training, like all different options. But it makes it a little bit tricky to try and tell you how much is our course or things like that. So if you head to www.monaco.ac.nz/course-finder, there is a super quick quiz that'll ask you about all of your training priorities and point you in the direction of the exact Monaco course that will suit your needs. Plus, there's usually a little bit of a monthly giveaway for people that give it a go, and you don't have to enter your details. So www.monaco.ac.nz/course-finder to find the perfect Monaco course for you. Pat, how are you going?
Hello, I am on question number 18. So we are powering through the questions and they're like interesting.
Give me like a top 3 interesting things you've found while doing this.
ChatGPT asked me about the budget, which was a good thing to ask. What Marissa values most and how does she actually find out about like services and stuff? And how would she share her beauty experiences with others? And I was like, oh, these are all very good questions. And I immediately made something up.
Yeah, that's all it is. All right, you power through the last couple of questions, or even just say, awesome, let's skip to the end. Can you give me a summary? And I'll check in with Leonie. How is your chat GPT cherry popping going?
Very good. So I answered all my questions and that was good. And it gave me a sort of a really basic synopsis of everything that I had entered, but it didn't like go into it how your one, Penny, had gone previously, like really, really major. But it did say that I could get more information if I signed in or signed up. So I've just done that now. And so I can see how much, and so to sign up was just email and password.
Yeah, it's you can get a paid account, but like it's free to sign up.
Yeah. And just to see how much more information it will give me.
Because you can also just go back to ChatGPT and be like, okay, but more. Or you can go back and be like, okay, but you forgot this part and that was really important to me. Or like, okay, cool. Based on what you know about her, what else do you think would fit her characteristic? Like you can have a conversation with ChatGPT.
It was really easy because it just scrolled through and asked the questions. So I answered them as best I could think for my person. And it's just broken down with a really good, really basic. So it's not overwhelming. So I think what I'll do is I will create an account, which is just the email and password. And I'll do it again to see how much further it will drill down that information for me. But for my purposes at the moment, to give me just a really basic grounding for my marketing avatar, I think it's quite good.
So in next week's episode, we're going to talk more about targeting the avatars, and you're still with us for that episode. But just to wrap up what we're going through at the moment, what would you say are your 3 biggest takeaways from finally learning what an avatar actually is and how it might relate to your business?
Not to be scared of the term avatar. It is just a fictional character that we are targeting. Marketing for any business is probably one of the most important things you can hope to do, no matter whether you're trying to build that business or maintain that business, because your clientele is always going to be quite fluid. And just to do it, just to get online and do it. Don't be afraid.
I love that. Pat, I'm going to get your avatar summary from you at the top of next week's episode. But what are a couple of takeaways for you from what we've been going over so far?
It's really interesting. And also you can just make up a person, just, I guess initially I was like, oh, but how do I come up with an avatar? But actually you can make up a person and then you can describe, and then if you target that person, they will start to show up in your life. It's like that law of attraction thing that Leonie was saying. So yeah, this has been very interesting. And as always, ChatGPT is very scary, but also my best friend. So yeah.
It's crazy how easy it is to come up with an avatar once. Like when I first came up with mine, I literally did Google like getting to know you questions, like first date, getting to know you quiz questions to see if I could answer them about my avatars because ChatGPT didn't exist. But once people start asking you questions, it's crazy how even though this person is fictional, you just know what they would say. That was not listening.
Pat just nods, even though you said, stop nodding at me.
Sorry, I was trying to like look at the. It's just very interesting to read the summary of the persona. So I'm just like, ah.
Read it to us at the top of the next episode.
I will.
Okay, so Mel, having had an avatar and used her for quite a while, what are 2 or 3 what are your your top recommendations to people who are total avatar virgins on like building or using an avatar?
Be like super specific, because when I first started, I said, oh, between 25 and 40. That's such a wide range of people.
Yeah, that's a target market, not an avatar.
You need to be super specific. And I remember when I first learned about it, I would go out just to like, I don't know, the local wherever club or whatever. And I would look around and be like, she fits I want her. So where is she? What's she doing? What's she wearing? Like, yeah, it just gets into your brain of who you would want to sit across from and also who you don't want to sit across from and why you don't want them.
Yeah.
So then you can avoid like trying to attract them. But yeah, be super specific, and it's okay if they don't fit your avatar. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep. Everything's fine. And with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back next week diving a little more into Pat's actual avatar, but also how to attract our avatars once we have them. Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ, Leonie.
I am Nail Alchemy by Leonie.
And Mel.
Mine's Jungle Nails.
And Pat.
Pat's a beauty.
Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.